Welcome to the AI Brief from the YPO Technology Network. I'm Stephen Forte. Some of the same companies that made a very confident layoff announcement last year are quietly reversing it this week. And I want to use that to tell you what actually works, because I do this for a living, and what works is almost the opposite of what most of them tried. Here is what I will give you in the next 8 minutes. The data on the great AI rehire, the one approach I have seen genuinely create lasting advantage across a lot of companies, and where the real competitive moat actually hides. Here is the lens for today. I spend my time helping mid-size and large companies actually put AI to work, not in slide decks, in the real business. And across all of that, I have watched what creates durable advantage and what quietly fails. So let me save you some of the expensive lessons. The single biggest one is this: the companies that treated AI as a way to cut people are the ones now writing rehiring checks. And the companies that treated AI as a way to make their people faster are the ones pulling ahead. Start with the data, because it is stark. New research from the staffing firm Robert Half found that nearly a third, 32% of hiring managers say their company eliminated a role because of AI productivity gains, and then rehired for that exact role, often at a 20 to 35% premium. Forte is bringing back experienced engineers to catch quality problems automation missed. IBM replaced part of its HR function with AI that handled 94% of routine requests beautifully and could not handle the 6% that required real judgment. And IBM is now tripling its US entry-level hiring. The mechanism is always the same. AI does about 60% of a job and cannot do the 40% that is judgment, exceptions, and relationships. Cut the person, and in 6 months, you are buying that 40% back at a markup, having walked your institutional knowledge out the door in between. So that is what does not work. Let me tell you what does, because this is the part I have actually built a practice around, and it is not complicated. It is just unglamorous. The only thing I have seen reliably create durable advantage is velocity, not headcount reduction, velocity. You get there by getting your existing team up to speed, so the whole organization moves faster and starts to run more of its routine work on AI while the people do the thinking. And the way you find that velocity is by hunting operational friction. There are two places it hides, and most companies only look at one. The first is the revenue side, and it is the one everybody thinks of first. Where does your sales funnel leak? How many leads never get a second touch? How much faster could a rep follow up, qualify, and close if the busy work around the selling disappeared? Point AI at the friction in the funnel, and you can grow the top line without growing the team. That part most leaders at least intuit. The second place is the one that will genuinely surprise you, and it is where most of the hidden velocity actually is. Go watch how your people spend their day, and you will be amazed how much of everyone's time, smart, expensive, capable people, is spent being middleware to computers, human glue between systems, copying numbers out of one tool and pasting them into another, cleaning up a spreadsheet, running the import, running the export, building the same PowerPoint every month, assembling the report, doing the reconciliation by hand. None of that is judgment. None of it is why you hired them. It is brainless computer work that we have quietly asked human beings to do because the computers could not talk to each other. And it is often 20, 30, 40% of a knowledge worker's week. Pull people out of that, and two things happen at once. The drudgery goes to the machine, and the human capacity goes to the work that actually compounds. That is where a company starts to genuinely accelerate. And notice this is the exact inverse of the layoff mistake. The layoff crowd looked at that mundane 60%, saw the machine could do it, and fired the person attached to it. The velocity approach automates the same 60% and keeps the person for the 40% that is judgment, now freed up to do far more of it. Same technology, opposite decision, and only one of them is still standing in 3 years. When you do this across a company, it stops being a tools rollout and becomes what I would call a genuinely agentic organization, one where the routine runs itself and the people operate a level up. That lifts the whole company, not one department. Now, I owe you one honest exception, because I am not a zealot about never cutting. There is one situation where deep, deliberate cuts are the right move. When you are heading into a transaction and building a quality of earnings story, the hard look a buyer takes at your real normalized earnings, using AI to make defensible, permanent cuts to genuinely automatable work can lift your earnings in a way you can defend line by line, and that moves the purchase price. That is a legitimate one-time value lever. Just do not confuse the thing you do to dress the business for sale with the thing you do to build the business. They are opposites. Here is the part that matters most, and it is where I will leave you. Everything I just described, using the tools well, automating the drudgery, freeing your people, is becoming table stakes. We said a few days ago that AI itself is table stakes, not a moat. And this is the operational version of that same truth. Every competent competitor is going to do the velocity work eventually. So it cannot be your moat. It is your ticket to stay in the game. The moat is the next move. It is taking these tools and applying them in creative ways to the one thing no competitor has and no vendor can sell them: your data, your 20 years of customer behavior, your service records, your pricing history, your operational exhaust. The off-the-shelf model is the same one your rival can buy on a Tuesday. What it does when you point it at your proprietary data, wired into your specific workflows, solving the problem only you have, that is the thing that cannot be copied. Table stakes is using AI well. The moat is using AI on what is uniquely yours. Let me make it concrete. Picture two 300-person companies in the same market. The first spent the last year cutting staff on AI projections and is now rehiring at a premium with its institutional memory sitting in a competitor's office. The second cut no one. It spent the year finding where its people were stuck being middleware, handed that work to the machine, freed a third of everyone's week, grew the funnel, and is now pointing the freed capacity at its own proprietary data to build things the first company cannot even see. In 3 years, one of them has a moat. The other has a very expensive story about a round trip. So if I were sitting in your seat this quarter, here is what I have learned actually works. Do not open with a headcount question. Open with a friction question. Walk the revenue funnel. And more importantly, walk your people's calendars and find the middleware hours. Automate that brainless computer work first and reinvest the freed time into the judgment work AI cannot do. Get the team genuinely up to speed, because a faster team is the whole game. And then once you are moving, aim the tools at your unique data, because that, and not the software license, is the only advantage a competitor cannot buy. Firing people because AI can do the boring part is the easy, obvious, expensive mistake. Freeing people from the boring part and then pointing them and the tools at what only you have, that is the quiet, durable, harder thing that actually compounds. AI will not win you the game by itself. Everyone gets the same tools. You win with what you do with your own data and how fast your people can move once you stop making them the glue between your computers. That is the YPO Tech Network AI brief for Tuesday, July 21st. I am Stephen Forte. If this was useful, send it to a fellow member. I will be back Wednesday with more. Until then, stay sharp.